When it comes to the new King Charles, we've been shown almost nothing but scenes of royalist adoration. But where are the anti-royalists during all of this? Well, at least some of them have found themselves in police custody. Reports have emerged of at least 2 Republican protesters being arrested for going against the mainstream during the proclamations of the new king. The first took place in Edinburgh on Sunday morning. This 22-year-old woman was arrested for what the police are calling a breach of the peace after holding up this sign at Charles's proclamation. She has now been charged. The sign says, "F imperialism, abolish monarchy." And this is Simon Hill. He's a Christian author and activist who was leaving church in Oxford on Sunday when he encountered the crowds that had turned out for Charles's proclamation. As Charles was declared king, Hill shouted, "Who elected him?" He was then arrested, handcuffed, and taken to a police van. When asked the grounds of his arrest, the police told him he was arrested under the Police Crime Sentencing and Courts Act, quote, "for actions likely to lead to harassment or distress." He was later de-arrested. Meanwhile, today in London, this happened.
Everyone's supporting Green.
So, just holding up a "Not My King" sign is now grounds for the police to get involved. And to prove the point, to test how the law is being applied in the UK right now, Barrister Paul Powsland went to Parliament Square. You can see a tweet here. "Just went to Parliament Square and held up a blank piece of paper. Officer came and asked for my details. He confirmed that if I wrote, quote, 'Not My King' on it, he would arrest me under the Public Order Act because someone might be offended." And Paul managed to get some footage of the exchange.
Why are you not giving details?
I'm not going to. Why would you ask for my details?
Just so I can check and make sure you can be here.
I'm in my city.
You've already said you've been arrested once.
Sorry?
You've already told me you've been arrested.
No, I haven't.
So you said that earlier.
No, I said other people have been arrested.
Okay, well, now we've made that clear. I wanted to make sure you didn't have bail conditions not to be. So just confirm, you're not going to give me your details.
I was holding up a blank sign. Why are you asking for my details?
Because you said you're going to write stuff on it that may offend people.
I said I was going to write "Not My King" on a sign, and you asked for my details.
It may offend someone.
Who's that going to offend?
Don't know. Someone may
Not My King. Someone might be offended.
That image of holding the blank piece of paper I thought was especially powerful. You remember at the start of the war in Ukraine, we were seeing lots of images of people getting arrested in squares in Russia for holding up blank pieces of paper. Now, I'm not going to suggest that the police here are as oppressive as they are in Russia to protesters. We have a greater deal of freedom to protest here than they do there. But these aren't exactly scenes that are particularly reassuring, are they, Ash?
Well, no, not at all. It's frankly ludicrous. Let's draw a distinction here between the death of a private individual who their family are entitled to mourn in dignity and respect, and what's going on now, which is a public political and constitutional process which is being foisted on us as a nation from above. Now, Mrs. Windsor, of course, she meant a lot to her family and she deserves to be buried with all of the dignities that I think should be afforded to anybody. However, it is not as if during this period of mourning, which, you know, it doesn't just apply to the family, but applies seemingly to every public institution, including even the NHS, Wimpy's and Ann Summers, we all have to participate in it. And if we don't, if we deviate from that script, then we face censure, ostracism, criticism, which is fine, and now even criminal punishment. It's not as if the mechanisms of the state have taken a break for the period of mourning, Michael, right? She dies on Thursday. On Friday, we get the beginnings of the proclamation, and then we've got all of this sort of, you know, pomp and circumstance which comes swinging in order to naturalize the transfer of power from one unelected head of state to the other. Now, that might be something which, you as an individual are perfectly comfortable with, and you have that right to be perfectly comfortable with it. Everyone else, though, has the right to dissent from that protest and to protest it, to object to it, and to raise their voice in public settings where that process is happening, where it's being dramatized, where it's playing out, where it's being staged. This is a really basic democratic right. And what's frightening is that you get so many people who are forelock-tugging monarchists who are saying, oh, well, have some respect. There's a time and place. You shouldn't do it here. I agree with the right to protest, but you were upsetting people. Actually, to quote some of the least talented comedians on the planet, there is no right not to be offended. This is part of the sacred right to protest and dissent. And it's quite frightening to see people just throw it away because they liked the last queen.